Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year, and welcome to our first educational presentation of the new year. Now, today I want to talk to you about how you can really up your trading in 2026 with candlesticks. So today's presentation is titled Big Candlestick Wins in 2026. Let me share with you what I mean here. Let's look at this chart. This is a chart in gold, okay? GLD, that's the ETF that represents gold. Now, if we look here, we see that going back roughly about 3 years, nothing was really happening with gold or this ETF. In fact, we were basically in a range market going sideways. But with the method I'll be sharing with you today, you would have known back roughly 3 years that a buy signal was generating using this method, and you could have purchased right here in October of 2023. And as we all know, gold has taken off coming into this year, and you could have potentially captured upwards of 235 points. So this is what we're going to be discussing today, capturing big candlestick wins in 2026. And everything you're seeing today is being displayed and used by applying our PTS Primo charting platform. This is the platform I developed with proprietary strategies that actually teaches traders how to identify these big candlestick wins. So welcome once again and Happy New Year. My name is Stephen Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my educational presentations, I've been trading now for 49 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, where I was a specialist for 9 years on the trading floor. I was on the trading floor actually 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. A specialist is just someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So I made markets during the crash of 87 and the bull market that followed. I left the floor in the mid-90s to pursue my own trading, also to manage money as well. And in the, I would say, roughly around 2000, I started getting more into education. And that's about 15 years ago. I teamed up with ProTrader Strategies, where we formulated specialist trading, where we just have one goal in mind, and that is simply to educate traders, to put the power and the education back in their hands. So I teach students around the world in over 115 countries and in every state in the United States, all the things, tips, and techniques that I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades of trading. You'll see that in today's educational class. Now, before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to share with you a lot of performance results using this candlestick method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. If you'd like to get more education on a daily basis, 2 ways to do that. You can follow us on X. There's a handle right there at SPCLSTTRADG. Every day I post between 5 and 7 different snapshots of signals our methods have generated, or little bits of financial wisdom as well. And we are also broadcasting this live right now, streaming live on YouTube. So you can subscribe to us on YouTube, so you'll have more and more of this content in the future. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. And what we're going to be doing today is talking about capturing the big candlestick wins. But that firstly involves a 2-step process. So let me share with you what this actual process is. The first part of this process is having a strategy, and that's where we bring into mind candlestick strategy number 5. This is our premier candlestick method, and let me share with you some of the highlights. It's a non-traditional continuation method. It goes against all the ways you've been taught how to traditionally trade candlesticks, and we'll show you how to apply it. And it's extremely simple to apply. In fact, in my opinion, it's actually simpler than using the conventional way of applying candlestick methods. Now, you can apply it to any time frame, any market, or any direction. Now, with our edge here, we have a high level of consistency. Now, I know a lot of traders think that consistency means that, well, there's a high level of winners. That's not what consistency means, and I'll go into detail more in the presentation, but consistency really means a method will have losses from time to time, but a consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses, often on the very next signal, and I'll show you a couple of examples of that today. Now, here are some older examples of strategy number 5 in the process here, A, B, and B. As you can see, a couple of buy signals are generated here on this kind of upward trend, and the market went much higher after that. Works the other way as well, kind of a slow downtrend. Two sell signals were generated, completely in opposition to the way most candlestick patterns are. And as you can see, the market went lower. But as often happens with all methods, all signals, all strategies, it makes no difference if it's one of mine, one of yours. It makes no matter if it's a system or if it's a fundamental method. Nothing works 100% of the time. I've been trading, as I said, nearly 5 decades, and nothing works 100% of the time. For example, here's a strategy number 5, buy signal right here. All right, so you step in and buy, and then look what happens. Turns into a loss, right? So this brings now the second portion of what we're going to be teaching you today. Remember, it's a two-step process, and that is when we apply the PET-D. This is edge number 2. Now, if you're not familiar with what the PET-D is, this is an early trend detector. I was first introduced to this tool some 5 decades ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange where I worked. At that time, it was a very cumbersome, detailed formula. In fact, we called it the formula, a way in which to determine what the short-term trend was. But now, with the advent of programmers and high-speed computers, we've developed it and made it much simpler for you to apply. As you can see here in this chart of Meta, the stock was going straight up. This is the problem that most traders have with finding the trend. And just when they think they know that they're going to be making a lot of money on the upside, look what happens. It goes straight down, right? Well, what if there were a tool that was able to really identify in advance what the trend should be? Well, that's where the PET-D comes into play. On our platform, you see here, it's as simple as clicking on the PET-D tab, which is right here. And what the PET-D does and what it is a color bar tool. It will color the bars either green or red. Now, when you see a series of green bars, as we see right here, consecutive green bars equal an uptrend. So we would have known well in advance that this was going higher when we had these 3 to 5 consecutive green bars. And once we had consecutive red bars, well, we knew that the market wanted to go lower. Now, the PET-D does not pick a top, it does not pick a bottom. It's simply showing you on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. It's basically translating the direction the market wants to go in. So now that you know what the PET-D is, a very valuable and powerful tool to have in your toolbox, your trading toolbox, how do we apply it with strategy number 5? Well, here's that example we had of that losing trade in strategy number 5. Now, this was a traditional candlestick buy right here, but if we had applied the PET-D, look what happened. The bar was red. Even though it closed up on the day, it was red. So that's telling us that we should not have taken this trade. In order for us to take this trade, we have to be in sync with the trend, meaning it has to be going higher. So look what happened. That would have saved us a major loss in using a candlestick method. So when we combine these two techniques, strategy number 5, along with the PET-D, we create what we call our candlestick combo. Probably one of our most popular methods we have at Specialist Trading and extremely powerful for trading candlesticks. Now, here are the candlestick combo rules. Really simple, as I stated earlier. You're only going to buy or sell strategy number 5 signals that are in sync with the PET-D. So in other words, if strategy number 5, our non-traditional candlestick method, generates a buy signal, the bar above the green arrow needs to also be colored green. That is a candlestick combo buy setup. If it's red, don't take the signal. Conversely, if you have a sell signal, if the candlestick method generates a sell signal, the bar below the red arrow needs to be colored or outlined red. That is a valid candlestick combo sell signal. It's that easy. Now, we talked about capturing big candlestick wins. As we said earlier in the highlights page, you can apply this to any market, any time frame. But as I've said before in previous presentations, the way to capture big wins is with applying all of our methods and techniques to higher time frames. So we know we have a lot of intraday traders, we know we have a lot of swing traders, but once you start using those higher time frames, that's when you really have the opportunity to capture these big wins. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to share with you a lot of candlestick combo examples by using weekly bars, okay? And remember, everything you're seeing today is coming displayed by applying the PTS Primo Charting platform, the platform I developed with proprietary strategies that actually makes candlestick combo trading simple. Okay, let's look at this chart in LRCX. It's a weekly chart. Nothing much happening here. It was going up. These are all weekly bars, and it's been going sideways for the past month. So here's how you would find if you had a strategy number 5 signal. Simply on our green bar on the ProTrader Strategies charts here, all you would do is simply click on Strategy 5 in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. Now, if the rules have not been met and there is no candlestick strategy signal, there will not be a signal arrow. But if there is one, it will identify it for you. And as we can see here, yes, there was one right here. But this is only the first part of the process. Remember, it's a two-step process. You also need to verify it by applying the PET-D. So next, you would come up to the PET-D tab right here in the left corner, click on PET-D. And in order to take this trade, that bar needs to be colored or outlined green. So let's see what it was. Yeah, it was outlined green. Now, not only was this bar outlined green, all of the bars were green, telling you that the market wants to go higher. So this was giving you the confidence and the verification to actually take this setup if you wanted to. And look what happened. It went up 95 points coming into this month, the beginning of January. As simple as that. Here's another example, an entirely different market, but a weekly time frame of the euro yen. Now, most traders would look at this and say, well, Steve, there's major resistance here. So I'm not going to do anything until we break out and close above here, or we have some established trend to the upside. Okay. This is what a lot of traders do. It's a very conservative way to trade, but oftentimes you'll miss that big move. Let's see if strategy 5 is telling us anything in advance. Click on strategy 5. In the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow. And remember, once again, if the strategy rules and requirements are not met, you will not see a signal arrow. But if the requirements are met, you will see one. So let's see. Well, not only was one generated, but we actually had 2 signals generated, 2 buy signals, well in advance of breaking out of some so-called resistance here. But this is only the first phase of the candlestick combo. Remember, we need to verify it by applying the PET-D. So let's apply the PET-D. Well, if the bars are colored green, we can take these signals. Let's see what happened. Yeah, they've both been colored green. They're outlined green. And once again, all of the bars are green. So the market is not only telling us, it's screaming that it wants to go higher because all of these bars are green. And had you taken any one of these signals, you could have potentially captured upwards of 2,100 pips in the next roughly 6 or 7 months. And if you missed those 2 signals, here was another one that was generated just last month in December. Okay. Now we talked about consistency, and this is a perfect example of what we mean. Here's a weekly chart of Google going back to June of last year. Okay. It's a sell signal that was validated by a red bar painted by the PET-D. So this is a valid candlestick combo signal to go short. So let's say you had sold here, thinking that the market was going to head lower, and actually it didn't. It actually went higher. So using one of our standard stops, which we teach you in the course, you would have been most likely stopped out with a 10-point loss, okay? Now this is where students have a problem. They get frustrated or they get depressed and say, hey, you know, I don't want to take any losses, so I'll just sit back and watch. You have to be vigilant because for all you know, there could be more setups being generated. In fact, guess what? There were 2 buy signals generated right when you were out of the market getting stopped out. So both are valid strategy number 5 and candlestick combo signals. You could have taken either one and potentially captured 150 points, more than enough to make back that 10-point loss, potentially, okay? So this is what we mean by consistency. A 1 step back, 2 step forward approach. Here's a weekly chart of INTU. All right. We have a buy signal generated. We apply the PET-D. And yes, this bar is green. Now, even though all of the previous bars were red, that's okay. All that matters is that the bar above the buy signal, the green arrow, is green. That is a valid setup. And the market went up 190 points. And you had one more signal generated right here. Now, that's how simple it is to capture these big gains to the upside, but we can also capture big gains to the downside. Now, we also know that a lot of traders don't like to go short. They don't feel comfortable. So what we can do is we can use this as an exiting tool. Let's say, for example, you are long a certain stock or market, well, you can use a valid candlestick combo sell signal to exit your position and save a lot of points potentially. Let me share with you what I mean here. Here's a weekly chart in Charter, CHTR. Now, most people would say, well, Steve, this is a range market. We go up, we go down, we go back up, kind of waiting once again to see which way it breaks out. But according to Strategy 5, all we have to do is click on in the green strategy tab in the drop-down menu, click on signal arrow, and we have a non-traditional candlestick sell signal here. That's just phase one, though. In order to complete the second phase, we need to apply the PET-D, which we do. And if that bar is colored or outlined red, well, then it's a valid candlestick combo signal. So once we apply it, we see that not only that bar was red, but all of the bars are red. So the market is telling us it wants to go lower. Even though nothing has really happened yet, it's telling us, even though we've been rising for the last month, I want to still go lower. These are opportunities to sell, not to buy. So let's say we had sold here to go short, maybe bought some long-term puts, or let's say you exited your position. Well, guess what? You would have saved yourself a total, whoops, here we are, of 65 points, all right? Now, if you went short, you would have had a gain of 65 points. But had you simply exited a long position, don't you think you would have felt much better knowing you had not taken that 65-point loss? Okay, now let's go forward to ROP, another weekly chart. Here's another way of how we show how consistency works. Now, we have a buy signal generated with Strategy 5. We apply the PET-D, and we see that, well, it's outlined green. So this is a valid strategy number 5 and PET-D candlestick combo buy signal. So let's say you take it. And for the next week, or I should say these are weekly bars for the next month, 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing much happens. You're not really losing anything. You're pretty much just breaking even. And then this happens. All right, so now you have a loss. And using one of our standard stop placements, you most likely lost about 20 points. Okay, not a good feeling. But guess what? Remember, you always have to stand guard because there could be signals being generated all the time. In fact, when you got stopped out, the market decided to reverse. Click on sell arrow, and here the market is telling you, you know what? Now I want to go lower. So had you now sold, you could have potentially captured 110 points if you went short, and that would have given you the ability to capture back that 20-point loss, okay? It's a perfect example, once again, in how this method is extremely consistent. These are the type of methods you want. So many people want these methods that hit home runs or promise the world, and they do every once in a while. Will hit these home runs and make phenomenal amounts of money. But it's been my experience in nearly 5 decades that these same systems, these same strategies give it all back. They're more like a roller coaster ride, going straight up and then straight down. We don't want to be trading that way. That's more of a gambling mentality. That's more of a gambling approach. You want to have a nice, smooth, upward slope in your profit and loss statement. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Another example, this one's in Costco, okay? Now, a lot of traders say, well, why can't I just use Strategy 5? If Strategy 5 is so good, why do I really need the PET-D? Well, let's say we just use Strategy 5. Here's a buy signal, and it went down 120 points. I most likely would have been stopped out, but let's say you held on for some reason. Well, you just lost 120 points. This is why it's so important to apply the PET-D, because had we applied the PET-D in the form of the candlestick combo, clicking it on right here on our platform, we would have seen that it was outlined above the green arrow, red, telling you that you should not take this trade. It was not a valid candlestick combo trade. And guess what? You could have saved yourself 120 put loss potentially. All right, let's look at MSTR. We have a sell signal using strategy number 5. We apply the PET-D, and yes, it's red. In fact, all of the bars are red, but this is the only one we're concerned about. So if we were long MSTR, I would say, well, listen, I should get out or raise my stop or just look at this from an approach from exiting rather than staying long. Or if we're more aggressive, let's start to think about going short, because look what happened. It fell 155 points coming into this month. Okay, let's recap what we shared with you today. Only buy or sell strategy number 5 signals that are in sync with the PET-D. So if you're using our non-traditional candlestick method, strategy number 5, It is a highly consistent method, but you can ramp the results up a notch by applying the PET-D. So if you get a buy signal using strategy 5, that bar above it needs to be colored or outlined green. If strategy number 5 gives you a sell signal, the bar below the red arrow needs to be colored or outlined red. That's how simple this process is. So ask yourself in closing, do you think these two methods, strategy 5 along with the PET-D, can help your trading throughout 2026? Well, I think most of you answered yes by now. So because of that, we have a great special discount for all of you attending today's presentation. We're going to offer you our Candlestick Combo Special with a great discount, great offer. You're going to get instant course access, detailed video instruction. You're going to learn all the entries, all the exits, and all the stop placement. You get the entire course rules. Plus, included with that, you'll get 4 separate PET-D trading techniques. Includes the rules to both methods, okay? Now, along with that comes educational correspondence. So you're not only getting the Candlestick Combo, but 4 different ways to trade the PET-D, along with all the rules, all the entries, exits, and stops, and educational correspondence. Now, everything you saw today was displayed using the PTS Primo charting platform. Now, if we throw in a full year of that, that will cost you an extra $17.65 on top of this bonus. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to discount that tremendously. In fact, if you become a student of the Candlestick Combo, we'll give you an absolute free 12 months of the platform. So you can use our platform absolutely free for a full year. Now, not only will you get the Candlestick Combo, but included with that, you'll get tips and techniques that I've accumulated in nearly 5 decades that you won't find on any other platform, because these are things I've taken mostly from my years on the trading floor. So as you see here, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's included on the platform. Not only will you get strategy 5 along with a PET-D, but you'll get our proprietary buy-sell line. These are 4 different ways to find out what the overall trend is instantly. Strategy signal scanner. You can scan on a nightly basis for the Candlestick Combo setups. So you don't have to look through thousands of charts the way I had to years ago. In a matter of minutes, you'll know what the setups are for the next day. You'll have automatic exit levels. With one click, you can see where these exit levels are already displayed on the platform. A strength of trend tool. This is another tool I developed with ProTrader Strategies that has a unique ability to tell if the trend is running out of steam or it has more gas left in the tank. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what you get on the PTS Primo charting platform, along with personalized tech support. Now, we talked about mainly looking at stocks and at a weekly time frame. We can also look at a higher time frame and a different market. Here's the Euro Australian dollar on a monthly time frame. Now, for all intents and purposes, for the past 2 years, this currency pair has been going sideways. But strategy number 5, using the same requirements, generated a buy signal right here. So nothing changes because we're looking at a different market, in this case, the Euro Australian dollar, or a different time frame, in this case, a monthly time frame. Do the same process. After we apply strategy number 5, now we apply the PET-D, and we have a valid Candlestick Combo signal here. Had we taken that in November of 2024, over a year ago, guess what? 1,800 pips potentially in just 4 months we could have captured. That's potentially $18,000, okay? Remember, the higher time frame you go, the higher potential for these very big winning setups. Now, we all know what's happened with silver, right? Everyone in the world has been talking this past month about, oh my goodness, did you see what happened with silver? Well, look at this. This was in September of 2024, about a year and a half ago. Silver was basically going sideways, but look at the color of all the bars. The PET-D was coloring all the bars green, telling you that even though we're just going sideways, I want to go higher. And then on top of that, strategy number 5 generated a buy signal. So SLV, which is the ETF for silver, was screaming, buy me back about a year and a half ago, and we've all seen what silver has done. This monthly ETF could have potentially captured 45 points. And lastly, let's look at the ETF that represents gold. That's GLD, all right? We can go back 3 years. Now, once again, gold in 2023 was basically doing nothing, just going sideways. This is represented by the ETF, GLD. These are all monthly bars. So nothing was happening, okay, for a full year. We were basically in a range market. But look what happened. Once you apply strategy number 5, the same process, even though we're looking at a monthly bar, click on the signal arrow, we would have seen in October of 2023, just 2.5 years ago, that this was generating a buy signal. Now, in order to see if it was valid candlestick combo signal, all we have to do is go through the same process, apply the PET D. And yes, the bar above the buy signal was outlined green. So that was giving you more than enough proof 2.5 years ago to buy gold. All right? You've all heard people this past month or so screaming about, how come I didn't know how to buy gold? Why wasn't I aware of this? Well, how it just slipped away. Well, not really, because if you had the candlestick combo, you would have known a full 2.5 years in advance, and we've all seen what's happened with gold. Using this with the ETF, GLD, you could have potentially captured 235 points coming into this past month. So this is what we mean when we say we can capture these big candlestick wins in 2026. We want to use our candlestick combo, and we want to apply them to higher time frames. This gives you the potential for big candlestick wins in 2026. Now, if you're still not convinced, I know a lot of traders always say, well, Steve, I trade candlesticks and I do okay trading candlesticks, so I really don't need the PET D. I'm getting by all right. Well, this is why we formulated strategy 5, our non-traditional way, because here's the traditional way of trading candlesticks. Candlesticks are usually used as a reversal pattern. And as you can see in this older chart of TXN, we have a nice uptrend. And look what we have here. It's a bearish engulfing pattern. So that's telling you that most likely this uptrend is going to reverse. So this is a sell signal. So most traders would sell right here, thinking that, well, I use candlesticks. They've worked for ages, right? So this must work well. But this is what happens most of the time, from what I see when I personally traded candlesticks years ago to what a lot of our students say, is that they really don't have a high level of consistency. Now, how could the PET D have helped you? Well, if we applied the PET D, we would have seen that that bar where you were selling on the bearish engulfing pattern should have been colored red. But all of these bars have been green, telling you that you don't want to fight the market because the market is saying, I want to go higher. So therefore, you would have not have taken that signal and you would have not have lost any money potentially. This is how powerful the PET D is just by itself. So you're going to get our candlestick combo special along with 4 separate PET D trading techniques. I don't have time to go into them now, but they're very powerful. A lot of our students just trade the PET D alone using these techniques because they're just really powerful pattern recognition systems. Now, normally, strategy 5 along with the PET D would cost you close to $5,500. But we're not going to charge you that. Starting out the new year, here's what we want to do. We want to discount that down to $29.95, a one-time payment of $29.95. You're going to save nearly $2,500. That's a great, great discount, nearly 50%, okay? Now, we realize beginning of the year, you've had a lot of expenses, presents, and a lot of traveling, seeing family. Even though with that great nearly 50% discount, that still may be a little bit too much to spend right now, $29.95. So super discount, we're going to also offer you a payment plan. So for a one-time fee of $497, you can be up and running and just establish a payment plan of $97 per month. And you can still be up and running. And either way you go with both plans, if you want to pay in full $29.95 or establish a payment plan of $497 and $97 a month, you will still get a full 12 months free of the platform. So this is a great, great way to start out 2026. In fact, start it out in the right direction. Become a member of the Candlestick Combo course, okay? We have students around the world who use this, who swear by it, and I really think it can elevate your trading starting out the new year. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts and all the tech support with the platform. I would highly recommend just giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to just answer a question you may have about the platform or about Strategy 5 or about the PET D. And if you'd like to, they can give you a quote for if you'd like to establish a payment plan or give a larger discount. They're very flexible. They're willing to work with you. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page. I believe you can also sign up on that info page as well. It's not a live link, but a live link has just been posted in the chat box. If you click on the chat little icon there in the Zoom tray, it will click on a live browser chat, so you can go to that. Excuse me. Now, I will just take the next couple of questions here. I know we have a lot of people that are watching us now on YouTube as well as on our Zoom class. So we will take any questions that you may have regarding anything I went over today and regarding anything concerning the teaching and the trading. Remember, if it's concerning tech support, I would call Pro Trader Strategies because they're more in charge of that than I am. But if it's in terms of teaching and trading, I can answer those right now. Someone's asking, will this strategy need to be updated or recalibrated? No. We've been teaching and giving this method to students for years now, and we've never changed anything. And that's how valid and powerful it is. So no, none of our strategy methods are ever recalibrated or tuned up. They're basically the same. And the best thing is they can be applied to all markets and all time frames. So we have students that trade this and swear by it on currency pairs. We also have students that use this on crypto. So it makes absolutely no difference, okay? Are there other costs like subscription fees, data, or platform fee? Well, no. Once you get the strategies, there's no other subscription fees, so that you own that strategy and you own the pet D. Okay. Now, obviously, if you have a payment plan, well, no, you'll have to pay on a monthly basis. But once again, that's something to discuss in terms of going forward with Pro Trader Strategy, since they're in charge of putting that all together. Okay. Is there only one exit method? No, there are actually upwards of 7 different exit methods. And the reason why we offer you all this is because as an educational company, we want to provide you with all these different variables so that you can make your own decisions. It's our educational philosophy that our job as a mentor is to provide you with these things so that you can be in charge of making your own decisions, in charge of your own trading destiny. This is not a black box system. It's not something where everyone enters at the same place, exits at the same place, places a stop at the same place. We don't believe in that type of trading. That's more systematic. We're more strategic, meaning that all of our methods are rule-based, about 75%, but then there's about 25% allotted for discretion, meaning you can decide where you want to exit. If you want to get out early, you can do that. Where someone else may say, no, I think this is going higher. I'd like to use a different exit. That's fine. That's where real trading comes in, when you use your own intuition and your own style. So there are upwards of 6 or 7 different exit methods, 6 or 7 different entries, and 6 or 7 different stop placements for all the different styles and all different risk parameters. Okay, good question. Okay, if there are no further questions, remember, if you're at all interested, I believe this discount is running for the next few days, probably up until the weekend. Give Pro Trader Strategies a call, even if you're just a little bit interested, just to formalize things with them. They'll be happy to work with you. Give them a call at 310-598-6677. They're manning the phones now. They'd be more than happy to work with you, okay? As we close and take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday. We give these free educational presentations each and every Wednesday. Thanks for taking time out of today to come and hear us speak. I hope you learned something, but most especially, I really look forward to having you in my Candlestick Combo course. I really think it can elevate your trading going into 2026. Thank you so much for attending today. I wish you all the best of luck and hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.